Hey guys, Tom Altizer down at Toro Martial Arts Academy. So what I want to work on with you guys today is one of my favorite techniques I share with my students in class, and it's a joint lock flow. This is something that I sort of adapted from a lock flow I picked up from the Filipino martial arts, and then I modified it a couple ways. So I want to share that with you guys because this is a really neat thing for you guys to maybe practice a little bit while we have some time off, because this is pretty complex. So if you don't know it already, it may take you a little bit of time to get the hang of it. So this would be a good thing for you to have the video of, so you can keep rewinding it and watching it again, and that way you can pick it up over the course of the next couple weeks or so while we've got our downtime. So the technique is going to start with this, the cross grab shoulder lock. He's going to reach across and grab my wrist. The first technique is I circle my hand up, looking at my palm, re-grab his arm, and I step in and I control the shoulder. Okay, from the other side, same thing. Cross grab, circle up, re-grab his wrist, step in, and I control the shoulder, kind of putting pressure between the elbow and the shoulder. Now from here, if he manages to stand up and overpower me, I just transition into the figure four. Shoulder lock right here. From the other side, same thing. I have the straight grab here. As he stands up, I just transition, I reach over top. And what I like to do is, I don't try to reach this hand over and grab my forearm here and lock it up yet. I just keep my arm over top of his elbow, and I reach this other hand up like I'm going to push it behind his shoulder. And then on the transition is where this hand will come in and grab my own forearm, and now I apply the pressure. Very similar to an Americana arm lock if I were in the mount doing jiu-jitsu, okay? So that's the first transition. Now from here, if he manages to overpower that, I take his arm and I circle it to the outside. Notice I'm still maintaining control of his wrist. I used to do this transition this way. I would let go and I would circle under, but I found it hard to hold on to the person's arm and control them. So what I've started doing, this is one change I made, is I take my hand and I snake it all the way underneath, up behind his shoulder, while still maintaining control of his wrist. And then I go from his wrist to my hand, gable grip, and then I step back and I break his posture down with the gable grip shoulder lock, okay? From here, I hug his shoulder and I stiff arm his neck, and then from here I go to the knee, to the face, and then this hand on the back of his neck slips around, punch it underneath for the guillotine choke from the front. Let me show that much again. Cross grab shoulder lock. From here, he overpowers me and stands up, so I transition again. Don't try to grab the arm down here. It's hard to do that sometimes. Let the hand continue to push up, and only when it's almost on do I actually grab my hand, or grab my forearm with my hand here. Okay, from here I have the figure four. He overpowers me. Don't let the wrist go and try to circle under. That arm will disappear. So instead, after the figure four, here, as I circle, this hand maintains control as this one snakes up and around here, and then my hand lets go of his wrist and goes right to my palm. Gable grip here. Break the shoulder down to control the posture. From here, stiff arm the neck, I throw the knee, and I slip this hand around, and now I have the guillotine choke. Now from the front headlock position with the guillotine choke, the next step is he decides to try to take me down. He's going to reach for my legs. Of course, if he does manage to take me down, I could try to pull guard, but if I get taken down against my will, I might hit the ground pretty hard, maybe hit my head. I don't want that to happen. I'd rather pull guard if I want to. But if I want to stay on my feet in control, as he reaches around both legs, I'm going to step one leg back and I control under the arm with the opposite hand. Okay, so I want the choking arm to stay in place, which means this arm's controlling the shoulder, which means this leg, my right leg, is the one in danger. So that's the one I step back with. So as he reaches for my legs, I drop back. Inevitably, he might try to reach across to my other leg. And when that happens, I'm going to move back a little bit. I'm going to take my hand and bring it up behind his head into the takedown. So from here, I bring the hand up and I do the head and arm throw. This is coming right from the Kali Silat curriculum. Notice I control this tricep all the way down. From here, I can go to a knee on belly position and just control. I can throw some strikes. If I want to go into the ground fighting, I can sit back and go into an arm lock right there if I really felt like it, but I usually stop once the takedown happens. So one more time, cross grab. Shoulder lock, one. He stands up. Figure four is two. He resists, circle under, hand goes from his wrist to my hand. Gable grip, shoulder lock, three. From here, I stiff arm the neck and control the shoulder. I knee. You don't have to knee, but I put it in just for training. I snake around for the guillotine. Apply a little pressure. He reaches for the legs. Step back and underhook the opposite arm as he reaches for the other leg. Then I push the head through the hole and step back. And I have my takedown. Again, I usually just kind of stop here at the knee on belly. Let me do it one time smooth without talking so you can see how it flows. Okay, so that's the lock flow. Again, I adapted it from sort of a different lock flow that I learned from one place, and then I added a couple techniques of my own. The lock flow is not to suggest that you're going to get a grab and you're literally going to go through every single technique in that flow in reality. It might happen, but probably not. More than likely, you'll do transition 1 to 2 or 4 to 5 or something like that. The lock flow is just a training method, sort of a template for you to take a handful of techniques that all sort of fit together and work them in a nice flow. It helps to teach sensitivity and fluidity, kind of feeling when your partner is trying to resist technique. Because very commonly you apply one joint lock, the person's not going to just let you do it. They'll probably resist in some way. So the lock flow just teaches you to sort of go with the flow of your opponent's energy and move into a technique that's not resisting what they're trying to do. So take your time with that. There's a lot of technique buried inside of that. Each technique can be done separately. You don't have to put them all in together. There's different places you can get into that lock flow. One example of that is from the haymaker punch, okay? I block, I pull them in, I can go right to the guillotine and then pick up the lock flow and then take down from there. Or give me a jab cross, I can go to the outside of the jab cross, let me break that entrance down. That's a brush trap on the outside. Hammer fist, I can go to the figure 4. Skipping the first one, table grip, shoulder lock, guillotine, all that stuff. So you can get into the lock flow from different places. It doesn't have to start with that very first cross grab like I showed. That's just where I start mine for training purposes. But again, you can pick it up with a handful of different entries for different techniques. So have some fun with that, guys. Obviously, that's something you'll need a partner with, so you can go bug your mom or dad or brother or sister or somebody, and that way you can let them help you practice. Be careful you don't hurt your partner's wrist or shoulder when you're doing some of these, because especially if there's somebody who hasn't trained before, they may not know how you want them to move, especially if they're unfamiliar with the techniques. So if you're going to use somebody who's never trained before as sort of a training partner to practice these movements, make sure you're extra careful. Explain to them what you're trying to do so they know how you want them to move, so they don't make a sudden move in the wrong direction and accidentally hurt their own body because they didn't know what you were trying to do. Have some fun with that, guys, and we'll have more videos to come in the next few days.